here. I just hopped on. So thank you everybody for joining. I'm just now getting over to watch this on YouTube. So for everybody who is new to this, this is a brand new format. This is audio only, and it is kind of like a podcast. And today I have the very, very good privilege of talking to a good friend of mine who's been in the drone community for a long, long time and has been doing a lot of cool stuff with us, teaching us a lot of new things, and doing a weekly show called Thursday Night Live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. And my hope today is that we can actually tune in and chat with Mr. Ken Heron about Thursday Night Live and about what the show means to him, how he pulls it off, a whole bunch of stuff like that. I'm very excited about talking to him about these things. I feel like most people don't understand quite how much it takes to make a show like that happen, as far as the logistics and the planning and everything goes on in the background to make it happen. So for everybody who's here, thank you again for joining. And I'm going to go ahead and reach out right now and see if I can speak to Mr. Heron. So let's give him a call. Now let's see. Going to add this call here. I'm still kind of working on all the logistics here of how this works. It's beta software that I'm using for something that's kind of a cross between a live stream and a live podcast. Let's see if we can get Mr. Heron on the line. I hear it ringing. Now, Ken told me that he was in Nashville, and he was filming today in Nashville. So we'll see if. Well, I did text him earlier. Come on, Ken. We're dialing for you, buddy. And am I dialing the right number? Let's see. Hey, everybody. Trying to get Ken. Let's see, Ken Heron on the line. So I don't know about you guys, but today has been absolutely gorgeous here in Austin. We have had this kind of like fall weather all day today. I actually got on my bike today and actually rode out a few minutes ago. I got back probably about an hour ago, rode out with my Skydio. And I will tell you, the way that thing follows is just off the charts, just absolutely amazing how well that thing can follow you. I mean, it's just something that I didn't expect it to be quite so good at. Now, it did get stuck a couple of times. I did have a couple of issues with it getting stuck behind some trees, but I didn't have any issues with it hitting anything. I didn't have any issues with it having any other issues other than just getting stuck once or twice when I kind of would make a sharp turn. It seems to lose you when you go into this sharp turn situation. So I'm trying Ken one more time. And if I can't get a hold of Ken, what I might do is open up the phone lines. Ken?
It's a great day at Pizza Hut. May I take your order, please?
Yeah, side leg, 2 large pepperonis with extra cheese, please.
Oh, you know there's going to be extra cheese when you talk to me.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Pretty good. Am I one of those cool dots on the screen?
You are. You're the dot on the right. You're the one with the phone in the middle. Or it could be a boomerang.
Oh.
Yeah.
And whenever I talk, it moves. So if I go boop, 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 it moves to my voice, huh?
It's like a pulse. You could be like a human beatbox. But here's the weird thing is I'm talking on my phone, so I've got this thing going, and then I'm watching the chat on my computer, so they're out of sync. So it's this whole time-space continuum thing.
Oh dear.
Well, so now you said you're in Nashville today?
Yeah. I am in Nashville. I'm actually sitting next to the world famous Dana Williams. Say hi, Dana Williams.
Hey, Dana Williams.
Hey, Dana Williams. Man, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard his voice in a while. How's he been? Has he been on tour? Guess not.
Been good, man. Yeah, there's no touring right now, man.
Yeah. Any virtual shows like doing things, doing songs online or anything like that?
We've been doing trying to put a few things together, but hadn't been doing a whole lot except just sitting around crying because we have no money.
Yeah. That's I guess touring is pretty important for a working band, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think it is. Yeah.
Well,
good talk to you, dude.
Yeah, it's good talking to you, Dana. And for everyone who wants to support Dana and stop him from crying, go buy a Diamond Rio album.
Yeah, or make a legal download of his music. How about that?
Oh yeah, I guess they don't really sell albums anymore, do they? I'm showing my age.
I'm sure I could. Do you have any vinyl of yourself in the house? I'm sure he does.
I have a bunch of vinyl. Yeah, I have all my parents' old Beatles records, which I imagine are worth something. They were played a lot, so they're not like mint, but they are like original pressings of Sgt. Pepper's and Abbey Road and the White Album and all that good stuff.
Well, there are audiophiles out there that would argue that the frequency response on vinyl is much better than any CD or MP3 you could do.
It's richer. It's definitely warmer. No, man, I'll tell you a quick story. I was in England. It's been a few years, probably about 10, 15 years ago. And I was at my second cousin's house, and his parents had a pool table, or I guess they call it snooker over there. So we were playing snooker and getting snookered and having a good time. And they had a record player, but all they had were old records. I mean, like from the 50s and 60s. And so we just played old records and played pool. And it was the sound on that. Like every time I hear a record scratch now, I think of that day and how fun that was.
Here's a fun fact for YouTubers out there looking for copyright-free music. I found out that their music made before 1925 is in the public domain and doesn't need any kind of permission. So you can go back and get those old "Hello, my baby," "Hello, my darling" kind of songs and use them in your videos for no problem.
That's what everybody needs more of, is the "Hello, my baby, hello, my darling" songs, And
we all need that, yeah.
And maybe like a whistling solo in the middle of it, or a jug solo.
Yeah, my grandpappy, he was a great jug player. He was a jug session player. He would just sit on bands and play that old jug.
Yeah. My grandpappy was a washboard player, so maybe they got together.
Yeah, we got to look for those old sessions. What the heck are we talking about there?
Well, I mean, we're talking about music, the thing that helps us get by during this whole thing. But I know what people want to know, Ken. What people want to know is they want to know the real Ken Heron. They want to get into the meat and potatoes of who this guy that they let into their house every Thursday, who activates their Alexa, who makes them laugh, who takes their super chats. Man, I mean, I've known you now for 3 years, I think? And I think Dana's son was with us the first time we met, wasn't he?
That's right. Yep.
We got together, did a little flying. But yeah, I mean, dude, you have done one heck of an accomplishment. I have to say, I'm very proud to be your friend and proud of what you've done, because you've taken this show and you've made it a regular thing every Thursday night that people can count on. And again, I think right now during this time of year, people need that. They need that regularity. They need that cheer up, that something to look forward to. And you don't have to go anywhere. You don't even have to get dressed, right? You can just tune in and have a good time. Is the show what you imagined it would be 2 years ago when you first thought of it?
It actually is. I'm very proud and very thankful for my audience. I've never take anyone for granted. Sometimes when I look back at the show and I read all the chat, I watch the show again myself afterwards. I see people in the chat saying, "Show's about to start, best day of the week," and all this stuff. I'm just so proud that I'm able to offer this little get together for people in our community. And it's really, it's just a show you watch every week, but to me, it takes pretty much every waking moment of the day to think about what to put on there. And then 2 solid days of getting it together and editing and all that stuff. But once it's all together, I've loaded the gun and we're about to fire it at 7 p.m. on Thursday. Then that's when the fun starts for me. Then I'm the ringmaster, and it just goes from there. It's so much fun. The show could be 5 hours long, but I at some point have to stop because I don't want to keep people in Sweden up until 6 a.m. watching the stream.
Plus, you
internet.
tried to do it for 5 hours and Wirecast quit crashing. So really, there's that issue too.
Yeah. All the technical stuff aside, yeah. When I started, I was actually using OBS for the first 2 or 3 shows, and I found that wasn't going to cut it. So I knew that I was going to commit to this every week, no matter what. The secret to any success online, certainly with a regular weekly show, is people are habitual watchers. So if I missed a week after 145 shows now, if for some reason I just didn't do it one next week, people would think I was dead. So I knew I knew I was going to commit to this, and that's when I upgraded to Wirecast, and that's when my tumultuous relationship with Wirecast and everything.
She is a fickle beast, isn't she?
Oh my goodness! Just all the problems continually. People think of live streaming like, oh, just pick up my phone, turn it on, and bibbity bop, there we go.
Like this. Like this. This is literally what I did here.
Yeah. Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure this is solid gold entertainment. But the type of show that I wanted to do, the type of prepared sort of variety / morning show disguised as a drone show that I wanted to do would require a lot more show prep. So that's the route I went. Since I did come from radio, and it was a pretty lateral move just to incorporate a visual element in my presenting.
Well, let me ask you this: in your you said 145 shows you've done. Is that right?
Yeah, every week without fail. There were a few times where it was close. There was one where I was in the hospital and all doped up on morphine, but I managed to do one then.
Yep. I remember that. How do you define, like, what makes? I mean, I'm sure you can't say, because I've done, I do a live stream every month and have done. I don't do nearly as much as you. I couldn't handle it, right? I just don't have the patience or the time. I love doing it. I get a big rush out of it. But there are those weeks or those months when I do my first Friday, and at the end of it, I'm like, wow, that was not great. I had technical issues, or I forgot somebody's name, or I couldn't dial in whoever I wanted to. And then there's weeks where it's fantastic. I'm like, wow, that was such a rush. I leave on a high, and I have that high for like 24 hours. Do you sometimes have really good shows and really bad shows?
Well, I think any show where people are being entertained is going to be a good show. You're always going to be your own worst critic. There's times where I'm the only one that will notice a little trip up or missed something or other, a missed beat. But for me, I've been doing radio shows on the morning for 34 years. So to be able to continue to do a show of a similar type on YouTube, it means the world to me, because if you're a professional drummer and your band breaks up, then your thing, what are you going to do for your thing? I was able to continue, and now full-time YouTuber, doing this show type format along with the other videos. So I'm very, very grateful to everybody who watches and takes something away from the show and gets a little bit of entertainment and distraction out of their hectic week.
Can you think of one of your favorite episodes? Like maybe who was on it, or did something really crazy happen on an episode that you could share? Any thoughts on that?
I really like it when stuff happens naturally. It's not planned. A line or something takes off in a different direction where we get on some weird tangent, and then something just happens that is magical, and you think to yourself, oh, we couldn't have planned that. So that was pretty good. Not any one particular guest. There's been a really nice cross-section of people on there, and I've had people who are not necessarily drone people or photography people on there, but
Do you keep a log
Hopefully.
of all your shows? Do you keep like a spreadsheet or a Google Doc or something that lists them, or do you just kind of do them and then once they're done,
I used to do a prep sheet that would list all the things that I planned on hitting during the show, and I would give that to guests and like, oh, this is kind of how the show's going to go. And it turns out it never would follow that exactly. Now I know Greg Kunert, who also does a show, free plug for you, Greg, Oz by Drone.
Yep.
His show is very, very planned. You know, he's got to hit this, he's got to do this. I'm only going to do this for 3 minutes. Well, I couldn't do that kind of show because I tend to follow and put the spotlight on the entertainment. You know, if we're doing something with Ashley and it turns out to be funny, you know, you stretch it out a little bit.
Like she's drinking a little wine.
Yeah, you never know. Like you're not gonna put on a prep sheet like, all right, at 7:47, Ashley takes another sip of wine, then she's going to be tanked and admit that she sold feet pictures to bring herself through college. You know, that's not going to happen. But as far as the archive, I'm just putting them out there, and you know that actually brings up an interesting question about legacy on YouTube. And if anybody listening knows, or if you know, Kelly, do videos live forever on YouTube? If suddenly I got hit by an asteroid on the way home and I wasn't uploading anymore, how long would YouTube? Yeah, tell me.
So two things. Number one, you actually should have, because I do have this, you should have a person that if the account goes inactive for 6 months, or you can set the time, you say 6 months or a year, you should have a person. You can make it me, I could make it you. We could be dead YouTube buddies. But you should have a person.
Let's not call it that.
YouTube zombies. But no, you should have a person. So I actually do. Right now it's my wife. But if my account goes inactive for 6 months or a year, she'll get an email automated with all of my information that says basically here's the keys to his account. Number one, but number two. There's a guy, and I'm trying to remember what his first name is. He's a drone guy, so maybe some people here in the chat will remember his first name. But his channel is called Blue Falcon Project. That's blue, the number, or the color, falcon, like the bird, project. And he has done a bunch of videos, and I think he passed away in a motorcycle accident in like 2018, maybe 2019. And so if you go to Blue Falcon Project, which I've watched a bunch of his videos. They're very instructional. It's a lot of FPV stuff, like setting up FPV quads, building FPV quads. Sounds like a really nice guy. You don't ever see him. I'm trying to think if most of it's just like a camera down aimed at the quad. But if anybody knows of the guy's name, anyway, he has all these tributes on his channel about him, like people just saying, hey, we miss you, rest in peace. And, and I'm not being glib about it at all. I sincerely, I sincerely feel bad that this happened to this guy, but yeah, his channel lives on. And I don't know, will somebody in the chat do me a favor and look up Blue Falcon Project and see if you can find his name? But anyway, that's a little bit of a downer note, but it does, it lives on.
Good. I was wondering if an account was inactive for a certain amount of time, if YouTube would just delete it, but I would hope that would not be their policy if there's great videos out there, but somebody forgot to have a dead YouTube buddy.
We've got the hashtag dead YouTube buddies going right now. That's going to start.
Oh my!
people are hashtagging dead YouTube buddies.
I actually saw this in the new YouTube studio just 2 days ago, where you can assign a manager type person to your account and give them certain visibility or whatever. So
yeah. So you can do that. You can do that. You can actually do that. That's been there before the new YouTube studio. So if you have somebody who's like a social media person, or you want to allow them to upload, etc., that's all good. But I do think there is a setup. There is a setup in somewhere in your settings where you basically name a person if your account goes inactive that will be able to take it over. And
the reason why I mention this is because I have no children that have showed up at my door yet, and the videos are going to be pretty much my legacy. I mean, you know, when I go, hopefully, I'd like to think that someone 100 years from now can look back and look at this old lousy looking 4K video. Look at this dude. This guy, you know.
I
I'd
know.
like to think that they would still be accessible, you know.
Yeah, and Audi's saying that Blue Falcon project is active. Yeah, that account is still running. And again, not being disrespectful to this guy at all. His videos are very helpful if you're doing FPV. But Ken, I think you're kind of beating around the bush. Just go ahead and ask me. I'll be your successor. Okay. Now, if you suddenly die in mysterious circumstances at spin up, you know, I didn't do it, but.
Yeah, I don't want to give anybody. There's no money involved. I don't want to give anybody motivation.
No. I think that person takes over your account. Yeah. Okay. So somebody's telling JC Culpepper was the guy's name. He died in June of 2017 from Blue Falcon. But no, I think. I mean, the thing is, here's why I love doing YouTube from a monetary perspective. It's a lot of work up front, right, Ken? You have to build that audience. You have to build that following. You have to build the content. But then once you get it going, it will continue. I mean, I've gone a month before, not too long ago, without publishing a video, but it doesn't really impact my monthly the kind of flow of it. You know what I mean? It's a machine that once you get it cranky, and it cranks for a long time. It's like a flywheel that's turning. Now, over time, it might slow down, but anyway.
My work ethic is, if a few days go by and I'm not at least working on the next video, I feel guilty, or like I'm not doing anything. You know what I mean? But,
oh yeah. No, I
one thing
feel
on
that
the
anxiety too, for sure.
On the morbid side, before we get off the morbid tip, there is one more thing that you can do to assure YouTube immortality, and I've done this. I've talked about it before. And that is to create a video that says, if you're watching this, then I'm dead. And then you just post date it as far in the future as you can. And then what I do, and I need to update this video because I made it about a year ago. And so, you know, if you're not around to keep post dating it, then it will post.
Yeah.
And
or if you forget. I mean, wouldn't that be funny if you just forgot? Oh,
if I forgot. Oh my God.
I knew I was supposed to do something.
That would be horrible. All right. Anyway, let's not talk about this anymore. That's bad.
No. So here's the question that I was hoping you could answer for the audience. We've got 50 folks watching right now. Just, you know, in a sentence or two, what's your advice for someone who wants to be wants to do YouTube, you know, and because I get a lot of comments and a lot of people saying, hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel. What drone should I get? Or I'm starting a YouTube channel. What should I talk about? But what do you think is a good way to get started?
I get asked that question a lot. And the great thing about YouTube is that everyone has the same opportunity for success. One of the things I would say, the most important thing is probably repetition. Set a goal, whether you're going to post once a week, twice a week, whatever. Be sincere. Be yourself. Don't try to be a Casey Neistat or a PewDiePie or anybody else that you've seen on there. Be yourself, because people can tell if you're not comfortable in front of the camera or whatever you're doing. If you're just doing, you know, if you have a nail painting channel and your hands seem insincere, people can pick up on that.
Wait, did you see my nail painting channel? Are you making fun of it?
I didn't want that secret to come out this way, and I apologize. I didn't know if you were making the announcement yet on that.
Thunderbird 6 says you have to have good hair. So here, well, I would actually counter that with my hair, Thunderbird 6. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. I don't have much of it.
You just have to love what you do and do what you love. You know what I mean? Like if you love making popcorn necklaces and you have a popcorn necklace channel, I mean, that's really niche. But you would probably corner the market on all of the popcorn necklace loving people.
You'd be the number one popcorn necklace channel on YouTube. That's a goal.
That'd be it. So if you love doing that, then it will show in what you create.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And I will say I love drones. I mean, I love the technology. I'm still every time I put one in the air, I'm still fascinated by it.
Yeah.
I sometimes I there's a double-edged sword to the name Ready Set Drone, and that is it's great for drones. The problem is if I do anything outside of drones, hey, Geeks Vana just gave me a super chat, £3.
Hey,
Can you do the sound effect for me?
there you go. We pounded
Thank you. That's actually that's the first super chat I've received in this format. So Geeks Vana, you're making history.
Wow.
Thank you. But no, what I was going to say is I definitely I wish sometimes I had a venue, and it's a matter of maybe starting a second channel, but to do other things besides drones, just random stuff
Hmm.
that I think would be fun to make videos about. Because I often get those kind of videos. If I put them on Ready Set Drone, they get a lot of thumbs downs. It's like, why are you putting a video about nail painting on here? So that's why I started the nail painting channel. Okay, and
Yeah.
Ken, you are my successor. If I die, you're going to get an email about that nail painting channel, and
Okay.
I need you to keep it going, shepherd it along, please.
I am honored, and I will branch out into toenail painting for you.
Oh,
I think that's
wow.
That's the next step. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But
No,
you're right about the channel name. I mean, that's
that's an
I hate to
important
admit
thing.
it. The drones, like anything else that's really popular, it's going to be cyclical. There's going to be peaks and valleys, and it comes and goes with technology and releases and everything. There's going to be a day when drones are as innocuous as microwave ovens, and Ready Set Microwave Oven wouldn't be a popular channel.
Well, you never know.
No, you never know, man. You're making that popcorn in the microwave oven for the necklace
with the drone. With the drone.
That's it. But for me, that's why I kind of anticipated maybe one day, hopefully, being able to keep a few subscribers if drones fall out of favor for some reason. And I haven't named my channel the Droney Drone channel. It's still
right.
Ken Heron.
Well, and herons will always be popular unless they go extinct, right? I mean, if suddenly all the herons died, let's say that they catch the bird flu or corona bird virus or something, then we might be in trouble. And Ken Heron, herons, although the search for them for a while will be really high.
It is fortunate that my last name is actually something that flies, and I have a channel with something on it that flies. But on the reels, if you're really wanting to decide to name your channel, which is very important, you will have an advantage if you name your channel something that describes the channel, like you did.
Yeah. True.
I just did my name because it's hard for me to forget my name. So that's why.
Hey, that's a goal. I'm gonna try to make you forget your name at some point, Ken. That's a goal for me. I'll tell you what happened with mine briefly is I own probably, I'm sort of a domain name hoarder. I own a lot of domain names, and I've sold a few of them over the years and made some money on them. And I just was like searching domain names, and I saw Ready Set Drone. I actually registered the domain name before I even made a video or even thought about making a video. Then I was like, hey, and I had a drone at that point, but I made my first drone video about the you know what? If anybody, the first person who can name the drone that my first video was made about, I will send a Ready Set Drone T-shirt to them. So if someone in the chat can name I think I've asked this question before, but if you can name what my first drone review was about, I will. So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat here. But yeah, Ken.
Hey,
so
do you want to let's destroy your chat real quick? You want to destroy your chat? You ready? Okay.
Go.
Everybody right now say, pick me, let's go. Pick me.
I need my hillbilly music. Somebody asked Phantom 2. No. Phantom 3 standard. No, I actually never owned a Phantom 3. Thank you, Thunderbird 6. Oh goodness, they're starting. Here comes the pick me's. You got
Are they doing it? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, stop it.
So Ken, let's talk a little bit about virtual spin up this year. I think it's going to be done online. I'm hoping that I can have some folks live, live with me. We'll just have to see how things are at that point, right? I've got a lot of positive feedback from that because I think people are a little concerned about travel. But
Yeah.
I see this as an opportunity. I feel like if we can bring together several people with drone channels as well as people who live stream into one place, we could make a really strong showing. And my goal, I'll just put it out there right now, is 1,000 concurrent viewers. Have you ever had 1,000 concurrent viewers?
No, that'd be awesome.
I think I've seen you hit 600 or so.
That was a good day. I don't know
yeah.
what I was doing. I wish I could recreate that. Something like that happens. Like you want to chase that dragon again. I want to recreate that magic. It must have been somebody I had on.
Which one was that? The 600. SD's Pro.
I
Geek
think
Spana
it was
got
probably.
it. By the way, SD's Proto. The Geek Spana got it. Geek Spana, please email me, Kelly at Ready Set Drone, and remind me, and I'll send you a T-shirt. And give me your T-shirt size and your. Yeah, okay. Now we're getting a bunch of answers. Owen's Workbench. You're second. Sorry, Geek Spana already got it, but yeah. Do you remember?
Geek Spana's a super fan.
When you hit that 600, that day, what was that? What was that like?
I think it was great. I mean, the larger your audience, the more energized you are. At least that's the way it is for me. I'll put on the same show for 12 people. That's not the thing. But I mean, when you know that there's that many people watching, like, oh, well, I better not screw up now. I think when that happened, it must have been when Mr. Steele was on, because I had a bunch of his fans.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember that show actually. That's awesome.
Speaking of FPV, just got back. I'm in Nashville today, hanging out with Dana Williams and his son Jacob, and I, for the very first time, followed and tracked a fixed-wing airplane with my FPV drone.
Oh, sweet! Was it fun?
It was terrifying, but it was fun. Yeah,
so
it was real fun.
Is this your DJI rigged up one? Is this the one that has the DJI goggles connected to it?
No, this is my 6S Crossfire 5-inch beast.
So analog goggles or analog transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. So you were able to track it pretty well. I mean, the good thing about airplanes is they tend to fly in a straight line for the most part. So they're not like making random movements. Who was flying the airplane? Was it Dana?
It was Jacob.
Nice.
Dana's son, Jacob.
Yeah.
The video had a surprise ending, so
okay.
Look for that soon on the channel.
Sweet. Well. So it is very nerve-wracking flying FPV. I'll tell you a little thing we've been doing recently is my son and I have been playing the DRL, the Drone Racing League simulator. He put in an hour a day for 10 days in a row. And when he started, he couldn't fly in acro mode at all. He had to have the stabilization on. And now he's just killing it in the freestyle screens. He's flying through tiny little gaps, looping around stuff, making 180 turns. It's just absolutely amazing what 10 hours of practice will do. That's the video I'm working on right now is kind of that evolution of him from can't even take off and fly to being a pretty good simulator pilot, right? Now it's different. It's not quite the same, but it's a great way to practice.
Yeah, I was just going to say, simulators are great to just get the mechanics down. But for me, having actual consequences makes me laser focused when I'm flying an FPV. Some people just throw them up and dip-you-do and through holes and all this stuff. I'm at the point now where I can kind of get it close to the ground, just very basic, going next to walls and stuff. Can't do tight little orbits yet. I know how to dive tall objects now.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the trick to that? I've tried that and not been successful really. How do you keep it? How do you keep it in a sort of vertical position or nearly vertical position to go down like that?
Oh, you get near the thing, you throttle up, and then and you throttle up and you bring the throttle down very quickly, and then at the apex, there's momentum involved. When you're going up, you can throttle down and you're still going up for a little bit. in that little moment, in that little arc, and you can feel it in the goggles, that's when you turn and face the camera down and just let gravity take you, because you're not really piloting it all that terribly much when you're going down next to a building or something. At least that's the way it is for me. Maybe somebody else that's better at FPV can explain it better, but that's where I'm at right now. And
so it's kind of just following. So it's just following nose first. It's falling nose first.
Yes, it's directed falling, controlled falling.
Isn't that just life, though? You know?
That's what life is about. That should be a T-shirt. Controlled falling.
Love it. Well, I will say too, as far as my FPV experience goes, I have very limited experience with the DJI goggles, but I have been flying more. I've been doing a lot of tiny whoops lately because they're so easy to fly in the house or in the backyard and stuff like that. And I have to say my skills on that are much better. But then I flew with Ed Ricker up in Colorado back in, I guess it was March. And you realize when you fly with somebody who really knows what they're doing, just how much you don't, right?
Yeah, that's true. But have you flown a 5-inch yet?
Oh yeah. I have a few.
Okay.
I've never flown a 6S. The biggest one I've flown is a 4S. And I think a 6S would actually kind of scare me a little bit. Do you feel like that extra power is good? I mean, it feels like. Here's the thing, you just cover so much ground so quickly.
It'll get you out of trouble quickly, but it also gets you into trouble. If now I was using default rates for a while because I didn't know anything about PID tuning or anything like that, and somebody gave me a really good set of rates, and it's night and day. I mean, now I feel like I can really do some stuff. So once I figure out what I need and I get that dialed in, and really fiddle with what I call beta fun, which is just a misnomer because beta flight is
beta flight, yeah.
At all.
No, it's I think it is. I do. I've been playing with it for a while, and I started using Clean Flight originally, and then switched to Beta Flight. But definitely, it goes really deep, right? There's a lot you can do with it. I'm just doing the basics in it, but once you kind of understand it, I can remember having trouble setting up drones initially, and now I kind of understand the steps you have to take to set them up. So it's you just have to master one skill and then move on to the next, that kind of thing. It's
my skills are building and fixing one, and then flying, and then beta flight. Beta flight to me is like having to eat your vegetables before you can get dessert.
Right.
I don't like it.
Oh, those dang vegetables. Dang vegetables. Well,
man.
Have you had a chance to play with the Mavic Air 2? A lot of people are asking about that in the chat.
Not yet, but there is a viewer that offered to let me fly there, so I'll go out and do that whenever they get theirs. But I don't think I'll buy one, only because I don't need one.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do we really need, guys? I mean, that's a big word, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll review it, sure, but I guess I could buy one on Amazon, right? Review it and then send it back. If people do that, is that done?
Well, I will tell you, I think with drones on Amazon or Best Buy or whatever, there's a restocking fee. So you're going to pay, 15% of or 20% of the cost of it. So, if it's $1,000, $200. So, but to rent a drone, you'll probably make that much in the views, right? I've got one coming. Yeah. So I don't know why. And I'm not. I've had a lot of people ask me. I wasn't on the pre-release list this year. I must have been naughty. I got a lump of coal in my YouTube sock. But I do have one coming. I do have one coming from that I purchased. That should be here next week, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to do some reviews with it, but I think what I'm going to try and figure out to do is all the questions I've been seeing that people aren't asking online. So one thing that keeps coming up is, does it work with the original DJI goggles or the RE goggles, right? Another question is, are the props the same as the Mavic 2 series? It would be pretty cool if they use the same props, so you could. I do wish DJI would sometimes stick with one thing for a while, so that if you have 20 of these props, you wouldn't have to buy 20 more.
Yeah, I mean, look, the best drone in the world is going to be the one that you own. I mean, that's always going to be the best drone in the world. If you have a drone already, it makes great video and you can fly it and you're used to it, and you have all the accessories and stuff for it, then you don't need the latest and greatest thing unless that's what you're into. If you just have to have it just because it's new, then sure, get it. But practically, I'm sure there's a lot of dudes out there that have wives. They're like, you already have a drone. You don't need to have a lot.
Well, don't you know the ideal number of drones to own? Does anybody know the ideal number of drones? It's N+1, where N equals the number you already own.
Yeah, right. But as far as the Mavic Air 2 goes, I'm with a lot of people out there that are a little upset that bought the Mavic 2 Pro that only shoots 30 frames 4K.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, because DJI can just do a firmware update and make the Mavic 2 Pro do 60 at 4K, right? I mean, that's what they do. They hobble their drones until the next greatest thing comes out, and then like, oh yeah, guess what? It has X-ray vision too. Yeah, all we had to do is do a firmware update.
You got the X-ray vision firmware update. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of lousy business practice. That when they did that with the Phantom 3 Professional, I was like, oh okay. So you could have had that the whole time. Okay.
Right. No, it's definitely it is definitely a game, and just like phones, right? Phones do the same thing. They come out with a new version that has a better camera or whatever, and you have to figure out what you want to do. I do kind of feel like that the Air is going to be a great drone for travel, because I feel like the quality on it is going to be good enough that you could obviously take a Mavic 2 Pro or Zoom with you, but the Air is smaller, lighter. I don't know.
It's a great first-time drone. If you don't own any drones and you want a DJI drone that's great, get that. I mean, the Mini's a great entry drone too. But if you're going to be doing professional stuff, semi-professional, maybe some real estate stuff, then you get the Mavic Air 2.
I was going to ask you what you thought was a better first drone, the Mini or the Air 2.
Oh, well, the Air 2 is probably going to be the better machine.
But for the
range on it,
for the money with the Mini, you could get the Mini extra battery. It comes down to what you want to spend. Sort of that cost. But I agree with you. I think you're going to make a big leap between the Mini and the Air 2. The Air 2 is not professional grade, but it is definitely a lot closer than the Mini is.
Right, and you have to remember, if you own a Mini, they're great. But sometimes there's windy days.
yeah, that's true. And it is as light as a feather. Very much so.
And the other thing, just on the firmware tip, that's a little lousy on the part of DJI, is the fact that they made the smart controller compatible now with the Phantoms. Or what they just made them compatible with a firmware update remind me what
the Phantom 4 V2.
Yeah,
it can fly.
That's right. That's right.
But it's because the Phantom 4 V2 uses OcuSync, not Lightbridge.
Yeah,
I think that's why.
Right, but they could have. But when they released the smart controller, they could have had it doing that the entire time, right? It's like they're holding back.
Yeah. Or maybe it just takes. Maybe that's harder to do than we think. It's funny because I've actually talked to people about something related but different, and that is like when a video game comes out on a certain platform, moving it to another platform. It seems like moving it from PlayStation to Xbox or from Steam to whatever would not be that hard. But I've talked to developers that say no, it actually is. It's a lot more involved than you think.
Different. And a better analogy. Maybe a better analogy would be airplanes. And there was a comedian, I can't remember who it was, maybe somebody in the chat will remember. There was a Southern comedian who did a bit where he got on a plane and they asked him what his weight was. And he said, well, why are you asking me my weight? And the hostess, the attendant said, well, we have to know how much fuel to put in the plane. And he goes, well, fill it up. Tear it up. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, just put it, fill it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Give us everything.
Yeah, don't skimp on the fuel. That's not something we want to do.
Yeah, don't be skimping. Don't be over in the ocean. Go. Well, I didn't give you my right weight, so that's why we're plunging into the Atlantic.
Oh goodness! But you know what? You know why he survived? Because he had his tray table up and his seat back in the full upright position. So
that's right. And yeah.
That's actually
and
a quote from
a used as a flotation device.
That's a quote from a Weird Al Yankovic song. I don't know if anybody knows this. Are you a Weird Al fan? I would think you would be.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you ever heard Albuquerque by Weird Al?
Deep cut.
Yeah, it is a deep
I'm not
cut.
Yankovic deep cut. Yeah.
So it's like a 7.5 minute long song that tells this whole story about him going to Albuquerque. You know, if you're driving back to from Nashville tonight and you have a music service and you can get Weird Al's Albuquerque, throw it on. It is so entertaining. It's hilarious, and it's great music and lots of guitar solos, and I mean it's just over the top. So all good.
Is it like that song? Was it Alice's Diner, or you know what I'm talking about? Where the talk sings like, "There's this old boy, and he lived down by the bridge, and he went over to this place." And
yeah, Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything.
Alice's Restaurant.
Alice's Restaurant. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I think that was Woody Guthrie.
Arlo Guthrie.
Arlo Guthrie. I said Woody.
Arlo Guthrie. Yeah.
Wow, man, we're going now. That might be old enough to have what is it called? No copyright, right? That might be public domain at this point.
Hey, let me ask you a question. For real, I'm going to ask you a YouTube question.
Okay. Hit me.
Have the hashtags in the title been effective for you?
I don't know. I don't know if they actually do anything. I think they sort of help people identify what the video is about. And you're talking about where you can put 3 hashtags in the description and they'll show up at the top of the screen. Yeah. Is that what you mean?
That's right. And I do know that you can't treat them like tags because they're clickable, and they will group you in with. You can't. I mean, I put my name in there as one.
Right.
But, you know,
they'll group you in with other categories, like other stuff.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be exclusive on you. It's like a search term, like
hashtag nail painting. Clickable.
Yeah, hashtag popcorn necklace, that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Hashtag dead YouTube buddies. In answer to your question, I don't know. I don't know if they do anything or not.
It seems to me like if you're a larger YouTuber, you should at least have them there just for looks, to look like you know what you're doing with your channel, right? And I haven't done them that long.
I put them in. I generally put them in, and it's weird because I think you do a comma, or maybe you don't do a comma. You just do a space. I always get it wrong the first time, and then they have to go back and edit my description to get them to show up. But I will tell you a little trick that I did the other night. I say trick. This sounds like I'm tricking the audience. It wasn't that. I did something the other night that just spiked my views for about 3 or 4 hours. I had a little scavenger hunt in my videos. I don't know if you stayed on my last live stream long enough to see this or not, but I had a scavenger hunt where people had to find clues in my descriptions, in 3 of my descriptions. And so people, and you've told me before about like your playlist with all your videos and kind of, you know, putting things at the bottom of the description. People were looking for these 3 clues. And I noticed after my live stream always gives me a little spike in views, of course. But then after that, I had a big spike that lasted a couple hours. It was people going through all my videos looking for those clues. By the way, for everyone who did that, basically I said I was going to take the top 10 or the first 10 correct answers. I got a whole bunch that came in overnight after that. And I cut it off at a certain point, but I basically sent everybody, well, not basically, I did send everybody an email back who is in the drawing. So basically I have now, I have a group of people who completed the task who will be in the drawing for the Mavic Mini, which I will announce the winner on June 5th. I'll actually do the drawing on June 5th. So, but that was,
cool.
the thing was oh, somebody's asking what the code at the end was. I guess I can say now, it was RSD, Ready Set Drone, which Philip kind of gave it away on the show. He was like, God, that's so obvious. I'm like, oh man, would you
yeah, no clues, man.
but no, it was RSD, and it was in 3 different videos. And so if you went to those 3 videos, you'd find those 3 letters. And so I'm actually planning for a bigger drone giveaway. I'm planning a more elaborate scavenger hunt. So I think that'll be fun. But yeah, it was cool to see that big spike in views.
Let me ask you one more thing here.
Sure.
What is the name of the software that we're using to make our little dancy circles here?
So this is beta software, and I actually can't tell you the name. I'm under NDA right now with it. It's being tested by a software company, and they asked me to use it, but don't really talk much about it at this point. And I actually
I'm sorry. What's the idea behind it? I mean, because it seems counterintuitive to have a non-video platform on YouTube. Are people open to this? What do you think in the chat? Do you like this? Would you prefer to see my beautiful face when we're talking? It's just, I mean, I'm all about radio. I'm a radio guy. I'm used to doing non-imagery, non-video.
So El Smeghead says, I think the circle should be Knight Rider voice from Kit. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So Ken, what's your opinion of it? But before people start answering, what's your opinion of it? What do you think of this?
Well, I would think that this would be handy for people who, because it will use less bandwidth, clearly. And if you're listening to a channel discussion in your car or something where you can't, you're doing something else, you just want to listen. And here's a dynamic that I'm sure that the software company keyed in on is, if you and I were having this conversation and it was video, it would be a different conversation.
Yeah.
Just because of that element. We have to be a little bit more descriptive and things we're talking about. And I know this full well. Radio, just audio, and video on YouTube with audio, 2 different diametrically opposed entertainment animals. And you do act different when you're being interviewed on the radio than you would be in front of a camera. And so maybe that's something they've keyed in on. They've certainly done their research to see if developing this would be advantageous. So I guess they have a lot of other test beds out there other than you doing this.
We've got two comments. One from Sunrise Water Media. He says, "Don't change TNL. Keep it the way it is." And same thing. Bob Casey's got the hashtag TNL strong. So yeah, everybody's doing TNL strong hashtag now. But no, in all seriousness, what this is, I think that there is a realization that obviously YouTube is extremely popular, and that podcasts are also extremely popular. And what they're trying to do is come up with a way to kind of meld those 2 things. So for example, if you were driving and you just wanted to listen to something, this is great. You could listen to this show and not be tempted to watch, right? If you were doing the dishes, if you were taking a walk, if you were on your bike, if all of these things you might be doing where you'd be listening to a podcast, this is an opportunity to do something like that.
True.
So that to me is the upside for the viewer. The upside for the content creator is it's dead simple, right? I didn't spend a whole lot of time. I texted you a few times with a little bit of information, and that's all the prep I really did. And then I uploaded a thumbnail and a description, and that was it. And then I just hit one button on my phone. I'm literally calling you. I called you from my phone. They give you a special number.
Right.
So I'm not wearing pants, and nobody knows that. Oh, did I just say that?
It is an interesting thing, because if you were wanting to do the same thing with a visual element on YouTube, you would have to have either different software or some kind of phone hybrid.
Well, they actually are talking about adding, the ability to turn your camera phone or your phone on, in which case you're kind of just doing a live stream from your phone. But I mean,
right.
This is dead simple. But think about this, Ken. What if, as you were driving back, and you were right about the bandwidth too, it uses a lot less bandwidth for audio than it does for video. How long is the drive from Nashville to your house?
About 2 hours.
Okay. So let's say tonight on the way back, you didn't feel like sitting there by yourself, or I don't know if Henry's with you or whatever, but let's say you wanted to actually hop on and just chat with people. You could do this in your car, right? Very safely, because there's no video component. And then the other thing that this allows people to do is you can actually make you can bring callers in. So you can actually bring callers in, like a call-in show. So basically, if we wanted.
Oh, cool.
So last week, I talked to Brennan. I think you were on for a few minutes last week. I talked to B, and then I had two callers call in, and then I stopped. But it was Steve Carpenter and Chris Hope. Awesome first callers for this thing.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool. I heard their voices. Their voices were broadcast out. I also understand, I believe that the audio quality on YouTube is actually better than the audio quality on our call. Our call is limited by kind of the phone system, but the audio quality on YouTube is actually optimized. So go back and watch a little bit of this afterward, and you might.
Yeah, I will. There might be some kind of voodoo magic at me, but I want to ask the people in the chat, how many of you people in the chat, how many knuckleheads are just sitting there staring at these little dots? Because I mean, that's what I would be doing. I'd be just staring at the little dots, watching them go boop 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 the whole time. That's what I would do.
I'm like glancing back and forth between the chat and that, but yeah, I mean it's kind of a fascinating thing. Circles are great. Yeah, random family man says I love circles, and how can you go wrong with circles?
Well, look, let me tell you, I had a similar conundrum because my second channel, Side B. I'm sure Kelly will put a link in the description.
Yes.
I'm trying to grow that channel.
Sure.
It was mostly audio based. I have so much content from my radio days, like prank phone calls and radio bits and just comedy stuff, and I wanted to share that. And originally what I had done was I just took a video of a reel-to-reel tape and had that going, thinking that people wouldn't stare at that, they would just listen to it. So, but later on I was like, you know what? It's YouTube. They're going to expect a visual component. So luckily for me, Ken Compton from Upper Deck Media volunteered to animate some of the prank phone calls, and they've turned out. Have you seen any of them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, his animation is great. I mean, it is fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the calls themselves would be entertaining without the video, but somehow it makes it even more magical with those funny little characters.
But he's got to do a lot of work, right? I mean, that's that's him putting in some work to do that. And if you, anyway, it's an experiment. And actually, Ken, I mentioned you as someone who might be interested in doing a few of these in this format, and they were all over it. So if we can talk afterward if you want to, if you're interested in trying this out. But it's definitely something, like, you notice that I'm doing this on Saturdays. I'm not going to replace First Friday with this. This is just something I thought would be fun to do. And my wife's been telling me for a long time I need to do a podcast, so this is kind of it. So, hey man, we're coming up on an hour, and I told you we'd stop at an hour. Any closing words for our awesome audience? And thank you to everyone for tuning in, by the way. But Ken, what do you got to say?
Well, to those people watching, and I imagine there's a lot of familiar names in there right now, I think the same usernames that you're going to see that are actually listening to this live right now are the same people that always show up first on TNL, always comment on the videos. There's this inner circle of just awesome people in our community that you can always depend on no matter what you post. I always say, like, if I did a video saying, hey, let's watch paint dry together, that, you'd see Geeks Vana, you'd see Chris Hope, you'd see the whole gang in there. I don't mean to leave anybody out, but yeah. So I want to thank you guys for always being there.
Yeah.
If I didn't see those familiar names in TNL, I would think that I was doing something wrong. So they remind me that people do enjoy the content that I'm putting out, and that Kelly puts out on Ready, Set, Drone. And that's really awesome. I never take you guys for granted, and I thank you very much for enriching my life with me being able to do this.
100%, man. I really, and
Yeah.
Ken, I appreciate you. I know the audience and myself as part of the audience most of the time appreciates you being doing that show, right? It really is something that means a lot to a lot of people, myself included. So thank you for doing that, and definitely, guys. As Ken said, thank you for showing up on this. I feel like this is something that we can absolutely explore further, but we're not gonna change TNL, right? You need the video for that. We're not gonna change for Friday.
Oh my good. No, we're not going to do it. In fact, I would like to do it just a quick plug. I'm doing a new segment called Big Tuber Time.
Nice.
It's called Big Tuber Times, and I'm reaching out to these larger channels like million views, 500,000 subscriber type, people.
Yeah.
To bring them in, not necessarily drone people, but just to kind of bend their ear on how they were able to get successful in the YouTubosphere, because people watch TNL for not just drone stuff, but YouTubery type things. A lot of,
agreed.
Creators out there. So the first big tuber that I'm going to have on will be Lance, the history guy. Have you heard of him?
No, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And that's going to be next week?
These little, no, the week after.
Okay.
So that he's got, I think he's maybe 500,000 subscribers, and he does these 10-minute long segments about little bits of history, like old ships or the history of toilet paper. He's probably our age. He's got a bow tie and a bunch of hats in the background, and he's actually recently been approached by the History Channel to start doing some content for them. So
wow, that's awesome.
I've lucked out, and I'm going to have him on. So.
Yeah, and once you get the first one, it gets easier to get more people, right? They're like, oh, well, if he did it, I'll do it. Man,
that's true. That's the first hurdle.
I won't feel like a big fish on your show anymore. I'm going to be like a little guppy.
Oh man!
Unless my popcorn necklace channel goes crazy, then
it's gonna blow up, man.
It's gonna explode. Pop.
Yeah, it's number
really
one.
Pop.
It's trending on TikTok.
Right. All right, man. Well, I the whole lead up to this entire show was just so I could ask you to give us the sign off with your famous sign off. Would you mind doing that for us?
Oh, sure, man. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for subscribing to both our channels. Until next time, and bye.
All right, guys. That was awesome. Thank you, Ken Heron, for being on the show. I promised to keep this to an hour, so I'm going to also say au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, and catch you guys